No, excited to be back. Awesome first day. Really good spirited competition, I thought. Obviously, there's going to be some mistakes. There's going to be some things that we would like to have back and we want to go back and fix. But I still think the old teaching model of preview, view, and review stays in place here. It's not really about making the mistakes and the challenges that go along with making those mistakes and trying to get those fixed, I think, is the highlight of what we're trying to get accomplished. But a lot of competition, a lot of positions, more guys than we've ever had in camp. A unique experience and a unique time, but excited about our football team and excited about the opportunities that lie ahead. So that being said, take your questions.
When you have so many guys that have been through this and done this, how much does that help, especially on day one, to kind of get back out there and get the flow of things?
Well, naturally, as I told the team today, naturally, day one is going to have high energy, and what day one can't have is high energy and low execution. I think you're trying to, bridge that gap a little bit and make that a little bit more of a level playing field because we want to play in some games that are going to have high energy. September 4th is going to have high energy. Going to Notre Dame is going to have a high energy. You want to play in games at the end of the year that are going to have high energy, and you have to execute it at a high level. In times in years past, I don't know if we've handled that, with great success. If you look back to 2017, that team did a really good job of handling that. So I think that's a challenge. I think it's a challenge at each position to have really great growth in place. A seventh-year senior's got different challenges than a 17-year-old kid does. But I still think the consistent thing that maintains and remains the same is how well you can grow and continue to get better.
When you have the split sessions like that, when you're watching specifically the quarterback position, what are you watching for in those splits with those guys?
You're evaluating scheme, but you're also evaluating decision making. You're evaluating accuracy. You're evaluating, the rhythm and the timing of the offense. And I think all of those would have incremental growth check marks that you'd like to see have happen. You shouldn't be making the same mistakes you made as a freshman when you're in your third year here. So young guys, new guys, they're going to have different challenges than a guy that's been here 2 or 3 years. I think the history of a quarterback play here, if you look back to Logan Woodside's completion percentage as a freshman and sophomore, not very impressive as a junior and senior. You take Eli Peters in a short sample of time that he played battling through injuries, not very impressive early on in his career, really good last year from a completion percentage standpoint thing. So those guys, the more the times they go through this, the more times they see it, you want to see that growth and you want to see that, faster decisions being made and the correct decision being made. And when that happens, you're usually pretty, more accurate with the ball. So,
talk to me about playing Notre Dame. You're excited about playing the first game, but Notre Dame in your second game on TV.
Yeah, we're excited for September 4th when Norfolk State comes here. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be fun for our fans. It's going to be a great opener. We'll take care of that one, and then we focus on a big game that lies ahead. And everybody wants to talk about Notre Dame. I am not one bit concerned about what's going on in South Bend, Indiana right now. I know we have 2 split session practices tomorrow, and that's where our focus has got to stay.
With your offensive line, there's only 5 guys that can start, and there are some really good players there. How do you approach that when there is a little bit of depth like that, and what is that competition like with those 5 guys that are going to start?
To me, competition is healthy. The minute you stop competing, I think I'm done coaching. That's the fun of this whole thing. It's not, do you love football? I think it's, do you love to compete? And I think that's a key thing. That's a key deal, and iron sharpens iron type of thing where, I am a really good player. I've continued to grow, but here comes a really young guy that's hungry, and he's done a really good job as well. So it's going to battle itself out. I'm rooting for both of them, and it'll sort itself out at some point in time. But I think depth on the offensive line in our league, this is a long season. Getting consistent quarterback play and staying healthy up front is usually 2 checkpoints to help you have a pretty good year.
With some of these 6-year, 7-year players, do they almost feel to you like an additional coach on the field for some of those young guys?
Coach, or sometimes I'm tired of looking at them. No, I'm kidding. But no, those guys are awesome to have around. They're an extension of the coaching staff. They can carry out a message. The younger guys, they've earned that respect. They've earned that trust from the young players. It's a tremendous asset. It's a unique time and a unique opportunity, but when you're high character people, you're really smart and you're really attentive in the classroom and you're a really good player, you could stay as long as, they can have 8, 9, 10 years if they want. I'll keep bringing them back because I think they continue to add value in more ways than just what they can do in a 4 to 6 second play. And I think that's what we're really, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do here. We're trying to put as many really good examples of what it looks like to be successful in front of our young people, and those guys are clear pictures of what it's like to be successful.
How do you continue to build on a level of success
Well, I think there's a couple unique challenges there in the sense that last year you could make the argument that we snuck up on some people a little bit. 2 new coordinators, not really much tape to watch on, what we were going to do and how we were going to prepare. So you won't be that this year. There won't be any surprises. But I like our leadership over there. I love the staff and the continuity of what's going on the defensive side of the ball. I love how they've created a belief system over there that they can go win a championship by playing great defense. I don't know if that's always been the case here. And the players have bought into that. You're going to talk to a couple of those leaders on that side of the football here in a little bit, and I think those guys would echo the same thing, because they've done a good job of taking that message and filtering it through the locker room. And it's really raised the level. When the water level goes up, all the boats go up, and I think that's been a kind of a really good, it's been a fun thing to kind of watch happen, and hopefully that continues to go.
What are your expectations for Bryant this season?
Excuse me, one more time.
What are your expectations for Bryant this season?
Well, to continue to build on what has already been a very good career. He's got to continue to, when he gets into the secondary, continue to make safeties miss and continue to improve on. I think we were really high in longer, 4 to 5, 6 yard runs. That percentage of our run game was really high last year. Getting the 18 to 19, those big chunk plays, I think I'd like to see some more of those. That's not all on Bryant. That's more on the perimeter players and getting safeties blocked and that kind of thing, and really doing a good job of emphasizing that part of it through preseason camp. But Bryant's a tremendous player. He's a fantastic human being. I don't have any issues with Bryant Koback. Like, that guy can stay here as long as he wants to stay here as well. But I think there's, again, growth in place, guys that are older. They're guys that are have experience. They can't get stagnant at where they're at in their career. We've got to continue to find ways to stimulate them and continue to make sure that they continue to improve.
I'm going to ask you about Judge. Physically, obviously, imposing. What does he bring to the table, and how much can he contribute right away?
Well, there's a guy that transferred in, and you would never know it. He's kind of made it a point to make sure that he fits into the culture of the program, fits into the culture of the locker room. Kind of a humble worker, doesn't say much, continues to go and take coaching. I think that's the one thing that I've appreciated the most. I think our guys, he's earned a lot of respect from our team because of that, his approach in that way. A lot of guys don't take it that way. You come from a big school, Penn State or whatever, you come from wherever other schools. We've had guys in the past that have come from schools, they come in here and they can't take the shirt off of their old place ever. That clothing never comes off. But they don't realize that their problems that they had at that other place keep following them. So Judge doesn't come in with any baggage, good product of good parenting. He's a good, solid person. He gets really good grades, and he works really, really hard. So that's usually the recipe for success, and I'm excited for him. I think he can really help us.
When you go into the portal, how difficult is that trying to find really good players, but also finding the right fit and making sure that it's, somebody, no ego and all those? How do you kind of approach that?
Well, in the last 6 or 7 years, college football has changed a lot with how you're able to supplement your roster. And we certainly are never going to start in the transfer portal, but I think you see an early signing period. Now you see the maintaining the February signing period. You still have junior college kids. You have grad transfers. You have one-time transfers now. There's lots of ways you can to supplement your roster. We didn't need Judge Culpepper or Tucker Gleason or Matt Landers or Ronald Delancey to come in and be the savior to our football program. And if we needed that, then we got more problems in the transfer portal. So they came at positions where we already had great depth. We felt like they could add value. Maybe their timeline, if those 4 situations, it's going to look different for all 4 guys. But if you can find a guy that fits culturally, you feel like he can help your football team, then I think it's definitely it's advantageous to go in there and to look around.